I'm going to start the meeting and just kind of give some high-level oversight, kind of behind-the-scenes kind of stuff, and then Chastine is going to speak a little bit more to kind of where we're at right now as a CDC and where we feel like we're headed. So one thing that I think is just helpful to explain is kind of our organizational structure, because you're not at just a daycare, you're not at like kindercare that has a corporate kind of oversight, you're at a daycare that meets within a church. And so I'm sure at times that's probably confusing how all of this works, how it's run, how decisions are made. So this is kind of our org chart here. So what we call our elder team here at Christ Fellowship Church is our session, because we're Presbyterian and that's the word that we use. And I'm a part of session, but I'm technically kind of under the authority of session. With changes that we've made in the last year, the CDC director has moved underneath me. That used to not be the case. So Chastine now reports to me, and then obviously all of the teachers, all of the staff report to Chastine. So if you've been with us for a year or two or longer, you've probably heard of the Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees, maybe you've met like Bob Schutzius, maybe you've met Jeremy before, who served on the Board of Trustees. And so basically the way that we used to oversee the CDC, again, because we don't have kind of a corporate system that we can go to, is that we used to have a board of trustees known as the BOT, where we'd take volunteers from the church who were kind of finance, business type people, and they would gather on a quarterly basis and they would help the director make business decisions, financial decisions, tuition, pay increases, stuff like that. And so we've had the CDC now for 15 years, something like that, 15 years. And the Board of Trustees was originally designed to kind of provide a way to keep the daycare, to keep the center connected with the church, but also kind of get it off of the plate of the pastor, because the pastor's not a business person. And so that worked really well for us for a long time. The center used to be really easy to run and was really, really profitable. And Jeremy can fill in gaps on this because he's been on the Board of Trustees before. But when I came about 3.5 years ago, we were already in a place where the center was losing money and it wasn't operating well. And obviously our whole goal is not just to profit off of the center. We want it to be a ministry. But obviously if it's hemorrhaging money, then it's not sustainable. So we started kind of thinking through what our options were, and we just decided with the way that the culture was going, with the increase in wages, with how difficult it was getting to run the CDC, we decided to get rid of the Board of Trustees. We decided that a group of volunteers was not sufficient to run the center. And so what you see on the left there, so we kind of got rid of the BOT on the right, and we brought in a finance group known as Brighton Associates. So Brighton Associates are a awesome Christian kingdom-minded organization that basically hooks up with churches and says, you're good at ministry, we're good at finances, let's kind of be your CFO and help you to run better. So we've been working with them for about 8 months now, and they've been really helpful. And when we brought them in, they kind of took over all of the finances. They kind of became our go-to skilled CFO type people to give us insight. And over the last So we have them now kind of giving us financial insight, and then Chastine is under me. So the Brighton Associates kind of gives the financial business insight, and then Chastine is under me, so I help her with vision stuff, ministry stuff, things like that. So that's a setup that we have now. We're also looking at creating kind of a small advisory team of 2 to 3 people that will kind of walk alongside Chastine and help her to run the operations of the center as well. But to kind of explain that a little bit further, so I want to speak to the closing of the 3 rooms. I know that was a really big deal for parents. Our daughter Esther is here, but we also have an infant, Judah, who was unable to go to the infant room. So I don't take the decision lightly that we made, and we had to go find different coverage for him. But basically, when we brought Brighton Associates in, they were kind of helping us to make sense of our finances. Meanwhile, Bridget and Chastine are incredibly overworked. I mean, I know that you guys were crunched by the hour changes that we made, and a lot of that was because we were just so understaffed that we were really struggling. They were working their tails off just to keep the center open. And so basically we had 2 issues. The first was that our leadership was getting burnt out, and then the second was as Brighton Associates kind of helped us to get a better handle on our finances, they really came through and said these 3 rooms are losing you money big time. Not only are they really complicated to run, but they're hemorrhaging funds, and if you keep them, there will be no center at all. So we made the hard decision as a session working alongside Bridget, so she was a part of this decision as well, and we said we just feel like we need to close these rooms and really refocus on the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s. So that's kind of what led to the decision that we made over the summer to kind of shrink the center. And our hope in that is not just to make the center more financially stable, but also hopefully to make it more intimate, to have just more focus and attention for you guys and for your kids. And so we're kind of working through that right now, which Chastine will speak to in a little bit. So just one last thing on that. Again, we really try as the session of the church to give the director as much power as possible, and we're still trying to kind of make sure that we do that. So most of the day-to-day decisions are going to be made by Chastine. She might run things up to us and we might say, yep, sounds good, check mark. The really big decisions, things like closing rooms or tuition increases, those are things that we're always going to work with Chastine on. So it'll be kind of a cooperative decision-making process. So that's kind of our structure. That's kind of the shrinking of the 3 rooms. The other thing that I want to speak to, not because I've necessarily gotten questions about it, but just Bridget stepping down, because maybe you guys have questions about that. And really what happened there was a couple of months ago, which I didn't realize, but I had a couple of the teachers come to me and kind of say, we're not really happy with the conditions here. Now, I try to make myself available as the pastor of this church. I kind of try to stay out of the business of the CDC, but I also try to connect with the teachers and be present with Chastine. But I had a couple of the teachers specifically seek me out and just say, we don't really feel like we're being treated well. We don't really feel like we're being cared for. We don't feel like we're fully being respected, and the culture is not really what we want it to be. And so we took that really seriously. We had a few teachers say we're thinking of leaving, and the teachers are our lifeblood of the center. So we had some conversations with Bridget, conversations with Chastine. We had a big staff meeting with all of the teachers, and so myself and some elders came and we basically said, tell us whatever's on your mind. And so we talked with them. We kind of got everything out in the open. And basically what came out was just more of the same, of just teachers feeling discontented, feeling a little lost in the dark. And over the coming weeks, as we kind of wrestled through, okay, what do we do to help these teachers and to kind of build a culture here? Because again, we're not trying to just be a business. We're trying to be a Christ-centered business as much as possible, so culture matters. So as all of that came out, we were kind of wrestling through what to do. I think it just kind of became apparent to us, to Bridget, that it just wasn't really a great fit. And really, without us pushing her, she tendered her resignation now, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. So really no bad blood there with her, nothing controversial, but just wanted to let you guys kind of know the process of that. In the meantime, Chastine has stepped up and has really helped us in 2 ways. First, she's just been doing a great job as the director of the center over the last few weeks. She's really been killing it. But she's also been doing something that our directors honestly haven't been doing for the last, as long as I've been here. But she's really been advocating for you guys, advocating for how can we try to extend the hours, advocating for teachers. We just recently increased their pay. I'm stepping on her talking points a little bit here. So she's just really been advocating and doing an awesome job. And I can say, as someone that's not directly involved in the day-to-day operations of the CDC, I've had so many teachers just tell me things feel way better, and we're super excited to be here, and it just feels like a huge sea change has happened. So we're really excited about that. So that's kind of my talking points. I'll let Chastine kind of speak a little bit to where the CDC is at right now and kind of where we see things going from here.
Okay, so one thing that I've been really working on is communicating with parents, teachers, just doing as much as I can so that we all are on the same page as much as possible through the changes and the transitions, as I know that's been hard for all around. So that's my biggest thing, is to just keep communicating. And if you have any suggestions on how I could be better at that, please tell me, because I'm open to suggestions. And then as far as the staff we have here, I feel like we have a really good team of teachers, and I'm sure you see that in the classrooms. And I'm just really proud of what they're doing and the work they're doing. And just, we're forming a good team, and I'm excited to see where God is leading us, and the community that we're already seeing within here, which then transfers over to how they feel around your kids, and the stress levels down, and they feel like they can communicate with you a little better when the culture here is better too for them. And then I still need one more teacher, full-time teacher for October. So I have a few prospects in that. I have an interview tomorrow coming in, so I'm still trying to get someone in, but I also want to make sure they fit within the team we have here, because if they don't, then it doesn't work out. And then we have to start all over again. And I don't want to do that. And then we also just need 2 to 3 more closers or subs to kind of fill in, so that we can get back to the 6:30 to 6 time frame. And then also an admin to help me up front, so I'm not here that entire time, because that's part of the problem why I can't fully open, because I can't be here that long. So, I mean, I could, I would just get burned out really fast. So we are doing pay increases for the teachers and increased benefits, just paying for more of the health insurance to make them feel like we see them and we hear them and we want them to stay. And then also just doing a lot more trainings, professional development for them. I've reached out to our early childhood council to see what resource they have for me, and just to give support to the teachers where I can't give them in the classroom. So I'm really trying to seek out those things that are available, but you just have to find them on your own sometimes. And then just the new curriculum that we started. I don't know if your kids have come home with any fun stuff, but it just seems like the teachers are really enjoying the curriculum, and just that it's really laid out for them, and they don't have to do a ton of planning, but they can have fun with them and also teach them about Jesus, which is what we go for here. So all around they seem to enjoy it. The kids will come up and tell me what they learned, and today we learned about sea creatures, or we learned about the moon and the sun and the stars. So that's been really fun and encouraging to see everybody just thriving in that. Let's see. My expectations for all the staff here is moving forward is just to want quality care for your children and want the best for them, which they do, but encourage them to seek out things if they need new ideas, or if there's a new training coming out. I want them to do those trainings so that they can get the best professional quality development, so that goes down to your children as well. And then we're trying to increase enrollment. That's on my to-do list. Is the next thing is just to fill the rooms up so that there's more life in your kids' classroom, and just help the teachers feel like it's stable in their rooms, because that's something they are longing for. So that's kind of going forward of my goals right now. I have lots in my head what we can be doing, but that's where we're starting. So.
Do you want to speak to the kind of structure going forward? I mean, I guess it's basically what we're doing now, but just the 3 rooms, teachers.
Yeah, so structure. I mean, we have the 3 classrooms open, and I plan to have the same consistent teachers in those classrooms as much as possible. Sometimes they get sick, so they can't be there, so I try to fit people in who've been in their classrooms. That's my goal, is to be as consistent as possible with the staff we have. And then just kind of run it as this preschool. And when kids get old enough to move to the next room, I would like to just talk to parents about that before moving them, and just see where we're all feeling moving children around.
Right. Well, that's basically all we had. Sorry. But we just wanted to provide time for you guys to ask any questions that you have to Chastine, myself, elders, or just throw them into the air, and whoever is fitting to answer will answer it.
What is your like capacity as far as like how many kids makes a room full, and what is like the teacher ratio?
Yeah, so so for this room over here, which is the Kind Kiwis, now I have to get that in my head, the Kind Kiwis. With the ages they have currently, there's a 10 max. So right now we have 9.
Okay.
So I would add one more to make it full, but it also just depends. I don't want to make the room totally full to where kids are too stressed out, staff is too stressed out, but enough to where everyone feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And then, so that's 1 to 5 for that. And then for the Joyful Juniper classroom, it's 1 to 10, and 20 is the ratio, the capacity. And then our Faithful Figs, which is the junior K room, that is 1 to 12, and then the max is 22 in that room.
I think the max capacity we can do is 52.
Yeah, total right now with the 3 rooms we have, it's 52. Is the total capacity.
And what are you currently at?
Currently, we are at 32. Yeah. I didn't want to start enrollment with teachers unsure of where they're going to be. So that's kind of where we fell. And now I'm like, okay, we're settled. People are feeling more stable. So now it's time to do that enrollment.
And I think our joint goal, or our goal as leadership, is we want to get as close to that 52 max as possible. But like Chastine said, we always want to kind of keep some space. We want to have a little bit of flexibility in classes. If a class is a little more challenging, not max that class out. But also one of our hopes long term is we have something called the Hope Scholarship, which maybe you guys are familiar with or not, where if someone's kind of going through a tough time, the Hope Scholarship allows us to offer reduced tuition payments. And so our hope would be to have some extra spaces in rooms where we can benefit more people in that way. So
I know that when we were first like signing on, 3 or 4 years ago, it was like the waiting list was incredibly long.
Yeah.
And so has that, I get it, yeah, it was for, the babies, but it was, is that something that is still in existence? Because, is that able to get you guys up to the numbers?
Yeah, so we do have a waiting list. And with how the rooms are currently, I can't just go down the 3s list and the 4s list and just call each parent. It's more of, okay, where does the ages fit within the classrooms? So that's what I'm doing currently, is just kind of picking through those. And each room has a hefty waiting list. So it's just a matter of me having time to call through all of those and email and
What's break even?
What's break even?
49 kids. But that's, well, yeah, that is technically like
Break even.
perfect efficiency. We don't have to hit that, I guess is the simplest way I would put that. But yeah, 49 is break even. I don't know how you would clarify that.
Yeah, it's having Brighton Associates take the numbers and run that was helpful for us, because having an impartial third party who's not like, oh, we can't let the infant room go, we've always had an infant room. They go, you're going to lose the whole thing if you don't solve that issue. So, yeah, it's that break-even number in the high 40s would be nice to hit, because then the CDC is really paying for all of its own stuff. However, we have some flexibility from like some of the disaster relief loan stuff that came out during COVID. So if we're a little under for a while, that's why we didn't rush
Tolerable.
bringing kids in right now. We didn't know if we were going to have teachers, and we thought that would be unfair to these new students.
Sure.
Like, hey, thanks for enrolling. We're closing in 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
that would be super unfair to them. So we have flexibility. There's not a huge rush of like, we have to get enrollment up right now or else we're in trouble. It's not like that. It's where we would like to be, but we also want Chastine to have the flexibility to find the right people. and bring in the right teachers and make sure it's a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the biggest issue the last 3-4 years has been, we can have all the kids we want really, but we've only been able to have this many teachers. And it's been a constant source of frustration for our directors of trying to fill all of the staffing needs.
Yeah.
Staffing preschools in northern Colorado at least is super difficult. And then we're a Christian center, and so we only take Christian teachers, which shrinks our pool even more. And so we ultimately, had to decide to shrink the number of kids to match the number of teachers that we can actually get. So if that dynamic ever changes in the future, we can revisit it, but this is where we feel comfortable right now.
No, makes great sense. Yeah, I had less questions. I had more just a couple of comments and suggestions, which is why I really wanted to be here. There's a noticeable difference in communication, and I just wanted to thank you for that over the last few weeks. That's been huge and very much appreciated. I would really love to see like an introduction, whether it's in Brightwheel or a handout or something, of each teacher. I still don't know the teachers. I see them as floaters. Sometimes I pick up my son and I'm like, are you full-time or are you
that's a great
are
idea.
you back here? Because I really do want to make sure, and especially because Liam's coming home and saying, oh, so-and-so, and I'm like, is that a student? Is that a student? Like, I don't know who we're talking about here, and he's 2.5, so I'm getting a lot. So I think having some sort of introduction or just a get to know, 5 sentences, why you're excited to be here and what room you're in and whatever would be, for me, would be really, really helpful. I've been asking for the last year. I see all of our friends who are in these different daycare facilities and everything getting back in the classrooms, and parent volunteers and Mother's Day tea and Father's Day this. And it's like, I've talked to Bridget about that endlessly of like, we'll wear masks and we'll do like, what can we do to help, get some of these activities possibly back in here? And it was kind of like, with COVID and we don't know, and it's like, here we are, like it feels like there's a really great opportunity, and also to support the teachers in doing some of those fun things that are, kind of calendar based fun. I don't know, but I just think that there's an opportunity to maybe consider that. I don't know exactly what the protocols or requirements are, but I'd love to, I can always block work and, come in, and it's, a fun show of support too, I think, for your kids. So I just ask you guys to consider that. And then
That's awesome.
I'm not someone that sits here that's like, so I appreciate them maybe in a different position, and by the way, out of breath at like 9 months pregnant, just so you know. I want to invest in the teachers. I want to bring in the best teachers. I want to support them. And so if there's, hey, we have a great curriculum opportunity or development opportunity, but we're going to fundraise for $2,500. Like, let's get some of those things out there, because I would love to tap into grandma and grandpa and get something. And I haven't seen any of that, but yet we talk about losing great teachers or not retaining talent or what. And it's to your point, it's we want to foster that culture that I want to know someone has been in the threes for 3 or 4 years because they love it and they feel connected and they feel like they're growing and not needing to move on to something else. So I just offer that up. I know we talk about like tuition increases, how does that help? But if we can go above and beyond that to support kind of onesie twosie things, you talked about a Hope Scholarship, that's great. Like, I'd love to know so we can help participate.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Great. Yeah.
those are my
Thank
things.
you. Yeah, thank you. Those are all things I would love to do. So
Yeah, there's more like organized teacher appreciation, because we've been here, my daughter's 6, so she was here in the 2s, I think. So, we used to have like the barbecues, and obviously COVID kind of ruined that, but that was a great way to like connect and
Would love it.
And then like Teacher Appreciation Week, that was more organized. There were, so I do feel like that made you feel more connected, but also like I feel like we all just get in our zone of like bringing them here and doing work, and then we obviously appreciate the teachers a ton, but I think those kind of things are show them how much we do appreciate them.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's even just some teacher appreciation stuff that we've done on the church side to bless the teachers, but there could maybe even be some more like joint opportunities where, you know, if we're going to do something like that, maybe we could try to bring parents into it. And
Would love to.
Yeah.
Hit Costco,
Oh,
tell me
yeah.
the day. I'll be there. We'll pick up whatever we
and
can.
I think what she's saying too is like we don't want to put this on
Yeah.
you. We don't want to put this on the teachers. But like even if you were like, hey, do I have any like parent volunteers in the room that want to like do
Do a
this?
fall social, like something. Like I would love to
Yeah.
get 5 of us to put something together. Like that would be a blast. But I never felt like I sort of felt like I was placated. Like, yeah, we hear you. Like that'd be great someday. And it's like, we can do this. Like today's the day. So anyway, but also then like how do you obviously have our information through our kids, but how do we connect with other parents? How do we, it's like, is there a directory or something you can opt in? You don't have to be a part of it if you don't want to be, but that way it would be great to, connect in and say, hey, let's get 3 or 4 or 5 of us together and do something.
Yeah. That's right. Great.
And from the fundraiser standpoint too, we have family that are like, hey, when's that next butter braids fundraiser coming out? And so it's like, the more the merrier. I think family
Yeah.
members and neighbors and elders are all happy to help support kiddos. And so.
I just had butter braid come through my email, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'll get to that in maybe a week. But yeah, so yeah. I think those are great.
I told you this already, but the communication I second with them, like it's been great. I was like, man, there's just like 9th day, so thank you.
Yeah.
It already is like feels great.
I feel like I've been bombarding, so.
No.
Like I told her I told you this the other day.
Nope.
Sorry, there's never be too much communication.
Nope.
If a parent doesn't want to read it, they don't have to read it.
Yeah.
So
I'll be honest, the communication up until about a month ago was when you got like the pop-up, it was your kid is sick or we're shutting down for COVID, and I was, every time I'd see it pop up on my phone, I'd be like, oh my God, what is this? And now I'm like, oh, what are we doing? What's happening? That like it's just such a more like enjoyable.
curriculum, like
And
what's
yes,
school, like,
exactly.
the lunch menu.
Exactly.
Oh, I
It's
just
just-
tell them what eating today.
It's just more fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely more fun.
We're all on week 2, by the way. If you
Yeah.
look at the menu, week 2, I did not get that out, but yeah.
Yeah.
Justine, do you want to share your history here?
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, so I started as an assistant teacher here in 2009 in this classroom right over here. And I worked my way up to then be ECT, which is, lead teacher. And then my husband and I started coming to church here in 2012. And then I was here for 6 years working, and then my husband and I moved to Arkansas for a 1.5 years. And then I came back again and was in the infant room for a while, and then just felt I needed something different. But the Lord has always called me back, always. And even when I'm not here, I'm fighting hard for the center and fighting hard for unity and everything, and for teachers to be, believers and also teach your children and be a quality place. So my heart has always been here. And then I've had visions recently, well, not recently, but for a long time, to eventually be a director here. It has come to happen sooner than I thought, but I think that's all God working through things. I see a lot of that. So I've been here for, I don't know, what is that? 14-ish years.
From Colorado?
Yeah, so I was born in Leadville, Colorado, and we moved here when I was 11 and have been here ever since. I have 4 siblings that are all way younger than me, and so I've raised lots of little children that aren't mine. And then I just have a heart and passion for kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to reiterate, I mean, as we've been kind of working through challenges in the last month or two, Justine has just advocated in a way that we've just not really had in a director for a long time. And she's really just led with the heart of, if we're not going to do this well, let's not do it at all. And so she's really here to just make sure, again, that we're not just making money or getting by, but that we're just offering the best childcare as possible to your kids, to our kids. And I'll just say too, from what I've witnessed, I know that, we used to have something like 20 teachers, and you never know what's going on with teachers. Are they here for a week, or are they here for 5 years? And I think through a lot of the challenges that we've walked through over the last few months, and through a lot of the conversations that we've had with Chastine and Chastine's had with them, we have probably the most stable teacher group that we've had in a long time. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I think we have a lot of teachers that are just feeling really good about the community here. We've opened up a lot of dialogue about let us know what you need in terms of finances, whatever it may be. So I'm personally really excited to see that expand and grow. But I think those are just two great things that have blossomed in the last month or so.
Yeah, I've had a lot of teachers coming in smiling and happy and excited, which I hadn't seen in a while. So that's been encouraging. And then we went to the Peach Festival all together on Saturday. So it's just fun to do things together outside of here to also just build that community. So
You can see it from the other side too.
Yeah.
good.
We see it a lot.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's more organized too, because I didn't know what James and the report, whatever, and I didn't even know what he was doing or what was going on. I love when he was with Stacy and Lori, and I was just I didn't know what was going on. So I feel like I love having Lori back too, and I love him. But I feel like now we know more what they're learning, and that's just we're just here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Good.
And Bridget did get the ball rolling on curriculum. So she's the one that kind of started it. And then it got here and then everything happened. So I was like, okay, I got to do curriculum. So she did get that ball rolling. So that was helpful for me, for sure, to get it out as soon as possible.
Is this a new curriculum?
Yeah, so it's a new curriculum. It's called My Father's World. And they started as just a homeschool curriculum. And then now they've expanded to preschools. And they offer both its biblical and academic, which was really hard to find. Something that's combined. And it was going to be really challenging to have teachers learn both curriculums. So this was a perfect in the middle, and they had lots of good planning already set for the teachers. So that was one of the reasons why we chose them. And then beforehand, it was just, we had a good curriculum way back when, and then over time, I think it just got lost. And so there was just bits and pieces of it here and there that we were, we're just trying to come together. So.
What was the name of it?
My Father's World. Yeah, and then the Fives or the Faithful Figs are doing handwriting without tears as well. So that just goes along to help them with their penmanship to go to kindergarten.
So is the issue hiring teachers, is it pay?
So
I know we're probably on par, right, with the rest of the centers in town, but is that the issue?
I think part of it was pay. Also part of it was for the state, we need qualified teachers. And the teachers we had weren't necessarily qualified. So to be in compliance with the state, we have to kind of ask for higher quality, if you will. I say quality because that's what they deem as quality, is the qualifications. So that was part of the issue, was just we were getting lots of people coming in, but they either weren't the qualifications we needed, or they just didn't seem to fit what we wanted here. And then I also think upping the pay and advertising that, I think is going to also be very beneficial.
And I was just going to say, as a business owner myself, I would call it a crisis across the board. It's not just here that's experiencing it. I don't know where everybody is. I don't know where they all went, but you have it. Yeah, it's so hard to get. We have plenty of people applying, but then they don't show up for the interview, or they don't, follow through, or they come one day and then don't come back the next. So, we're trying to do the best we can, but I think it's just a general crisis across the board with the workforce. So.
It makes sense.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't know where they all are, but well, hopefully it'll stabilize. But
I'll update our, like our posting, and I'll get a ton of inquiries, and I'll reach out, and maybe one or two will get back to me and maybe set up an interview, and then they usually don't show up. So I've had maybe 2 show up, and both of them were Mormon. So for here, that doesn't.
If there's
fit, unfortunately.
I mean, I know this might sound silly too, but I think there was at some point there was like, hey, if you refer, like there could be, tuition, whatever reimbursement.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea really what you're looking for. I mean, if there was more detail or the actual link, I mean, we get tons of people, even in our neighborhood, talking about like, oh, my cousin has been looking for something, in education, and it's like, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough to know to refer them or not. So if there's more detail that can be shared, you never know. That might go a long way.
True. Yeah.
Did you have any emails that came out that needed to be?
Oh,
Yeah, I should probably. I had a family ask if they could ask some questions. Let me see. They didn't give me any, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, but no, I don't have anything. Anything else?
well, any last minute questions anybody has about anything? We'll just go ahead and wrap up and close in prayer, and we'll hang out for a few minutes if something else pops in your head. And then obviously Chastine's here all the time, and you can always shoot her a question. I'll put my email up as well. You should really direct your questions to her. But if for whatever reason something comes up where I can be helpful, then
Because he'll most likely ask me.
yeah, I'll most likely just do forward, Chastine and I. So pretty simple, Nat@ChristFellowshipChurch.net. It would be relevant, but there it is. All right. Well, I will close this up in prayer, and then again, if you have any questions, feel free to come up. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together, and I just thank you, Lord, that so often what we see in your word is that as we navigate through hard and difficult times, Lord, it often leads us to a time of rebirth and a time of hope. And I just thank you for what we feel like we're seeing in leadership, which is this center just growing and thriving. And I'm thankful for these parent partners who are here today and for their ideas and their encouragement, Lord. And just pray that all of us would kind of rally together to just help our kids to be as blessed as possible and to really grow the community of this organization. Father, we're truly, you have blessed us to be kind of a unique child care center within Northern Colorado, and we just pray that we would lean into that and enjoy that and just bless these families. And thank you for this time together, and we lift this up in your name. Amen. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.